Yeah, go ahead. Thank you. All right, so let us now work on 4 different reciprocal and quotient identities using and defining such other trig functions as follows, right? Secant is a reciprocal of cosine. Okay. Cosecant, however, is the reciprocal of sine. So once again, reciprocal of sine is cosecant, reciprocal of cosine is secant. For quotient identities, however, these are the following. Tangent is the quotient between sine and cosine. And cotangent is basically the reciprocal of this. So in short, just basically cosine over sine. So that summarizes our reciprocal and quotient identities for the following. Okay, so we're gonna use this one to answer. Let's answer in here question number, let's see. 39. Let's see question number 39, and we got the following. We got the following in here, right? Given cosine of angle T to be negative 1/3, right? Also, it says in here, it's on the 3rd quadrant, right? Quadrant 3. Now, we have to find the following, all right? What do we need to find? Sine of T, secant of T, cosecant of T, tangent of T, and cotangent of T. Right? So again, we are given cosine. So what we're going to do first, step number 1 is to what? Use what? Pythagorean identity to solve for what? Sine of T. Right? So just the same as what we did in the past, we're going to use Pythagorean identity for such. Anyone who can tell us, Chase, what's the Pythagorean identity?
Cosine squared or sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1.
Very good. Right? So we're just gonna use that one. Similar to what we've done previously, right? So in here, cosine T is negative 1/3. We're gonna square this, right? What is this? 1/9, very good, is equal to 1. And again, our goal in here is to solve for sine T, right? Not T, but sine of T, right? So what do we do then?
Subtract the 1/9.
Subtract 1/9 on both sides, very good. And again, in here, you can use calculator for that, okay? So this will cancel out, hence we get the following. Sine squared T is equal to, what's that again? You got 8/9, right? Now what do? You just want sine T. How do you remove the power 2? Square root both sides, right? And in here, you separate the square roots as well, right? Okay, there we go. Get it? Okay. Why? Because the inverse of square is square root, right? So there we go. We got our sine T already to be how much? Square root of 8. You can simplify it as square root of 2/2 because that's 2 cubed, right? If it needs to be simplified, do it. Square root of 9, we don't have a problem. It's a perfect square number already. So square root of 9 is basically just 3, right? So that's it. That's our sine value. Again, by using Pythagorean identity. Are we good? Right. Now, quadrant 3. Now in quadrant 3, what signs are we talking about for sine and cosine?
Negative.
Both are negatives. Very good. There we go. So negative for cosine, also negative for sine. So that means in here, I'm going to put a negative sign. Are we good?
Yes.
Now, step number 2 is to consider what? Okay, I'm going to put in here. You see this reciprocal identity? This will be our step number 2, right? Step 2, consider reciprocal identity to get what? Secant and cosecant, right? You get? Right. So how to get secant? That's 1 over, what's your cosine again? Negative 1/3, right? So in short, what is the reciprocal of negative 1/3? Just negative 3. Okay. So secant of, what's this again? T is equal to negative 3. Okay. Cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. So what's our sine a while ago? Right? So what do you do with this? You can just flip it, by the way, if you want to get its reciprocal. See this one? Just flip it. Or, if I were you, I'm gonna start in here, right? You see this 8 nines a while ago? I'm gonna flip it and then get the square root, right? So in short, I'm gonna do this one like this, right? You see this one? Just flip this 2, right? Right? So that's gonna be what? 3 on top, and then what's on below? Square root of 8. Get it, guys? What we did? If it needs to be simplified or rationalized, you see that square root of 8? That's 1 again, what? 3 over what is this? 2 over square root of 2, right? Again, don't forget the negative, right? How do I simplify this? How do you remove that square root of 2?
Multiply by the square root of 2.
Very good, right? Whatever this is, this square root below is, you're gonna multiply above and below by that same number. Again, your goal is to remove that square root, okay? Alright, so that's it. What's this gonna be then? Negative 3 times square root of 2 on top. And then below, what's square root of 2 times square root of 2? 2, alright? Times 2, this is now 4, right? So that's your negative 3 square root of 2 over 4, okay? So I would say review your rationalizing of fractions, okay? Again, in a rational function, your denominator cannot have a square root, right? Step number 3. So step number 3 is this. Use quotient identities to get what? Tangent and cotangent. And again, we are solving for what? T, right? Angle T, right? Well, let's see what we're gonna get in here. Sine T over cosine T. And what's that again? What's our sine T a while ago? This one, right? So I'm gonna put it in here. Negative 2 square root of 2 over 3. I'm gonna put it in parentheses, right? To clarify that that is the entire numerator, right? What's the denominator? The negative 1/3, okay? This is typically called a complex fraction, right? This is the big or the general division bar, but as you may notice, the numerator and denominator are separately fractions as well, right? So in partial fraction, what do? Well, can it be further simplified? Yeah. Actually, yes, right? You see these 3's? You can cancel them, right? Because they're both denominators above and below, right? So cancel them. What about the negatives? Yeah, negative over negative is positive. So in short, what's your answer basically is what? Just 2 square root of 2, right? Good. The numerator turned out to be 2 square root of 2. The denominator turned out to be just 1. Well, a number divided by 1 is just itself, by the way. Are we good? Well, lastly, we can think of cotangent as cosine over sine of t. We can also think of cotangent as just the what? The reciprocal of tangent. Good? So in short, if you just think of this as the reciprocal of that, right? What you're gonna do? You see this one? Just flip it, right? Get the reciprocal of this. So cotangent t is what? 1 over this one, 2 square root of 2. Again, do not forget to rationalize. How do you get rid of this square root? Multiply it by that same number, right? Very good. There we go. Square root of 2, up and down. Okay. So let's see. Square root of 2 on top. What's below? What's square root of 2 times itself?
2.
Just 2. But there's a 2 out, right? So 2 times 2 will be. So I would say in here, summary, okay? If you are got cosine, to get sine, use Pythagorean identity, right? Make sure you square, subtract both sides, rationalize the square root, right? For secant, cosecant, use reciprocal identities, rationalize once again. For tangent, cotangent, use quotient identities. Again, rationalize if it's needed. Are we good? Thank you.